This story is yet another proof of how ruthless and dangerous the political industry can be. Sindiso Magaqa was born in the town of Umzimkhulu in KZN. From a young age, he grew an interest in politics. In 1997, he officially joined the ANC's Youth League and his rise was swift. During Julius Malema's explosive term as president, Magaqa became the Secretary General of the ANC Youth League. Between 2009 and 2013, there were a lot of worker protests for service delivery. The ANC's 2007 Polokwane conference had pushed the ruling party's politics to the left, igniting a firestorm of radical energy, especially amongst the youth. At the center of it all stood Julius Malema, Sindiso Magaqa, Floyd Shivambu, and others in the Youth League acting fearless and uncompromising. Magaqa helped propel the Youth League into bold uncharted territories with a cry for economic freedom in our lifetime. This was a call for transformation.
The discussion document, the program of action, is giving clear emphasis in terms of how we must move forward. Comrades have already identified the challenges that will confront this program of action for economic freedom in our lifetime. Obviously, there will be an imperialist backlash. The imperialists will not be happy, will not be content with how we want to move, particularly on expropriation without compensation, particularly on nationalization of mines. That is the situation that is going to define our challenges, but also we have got subjective internal challenges of the leadership that must carry this agenda forward.
At the 2011 ANC Youth League National Congress, more than 5,000 delegates rallied behind a policy platform demanding the expropriation of land without compensation and the nationalization of South African mines in key industries. Now the elites and political big dogs were rattled by this.
We want land. Without land, we are nothing. Why would this South Africa belong to us when we have nothing to show that this South Africa belongs to us? We need the leadership that is ready to resolve this matter. In 2040, not more than 5% will be transferred. What does it mean? It means our economy will still be dominated by the minority. The leadership of the ANC must implement the Polokwane resolution. Polokwane said willing buyer, willing seller has failed. We must find an alternative. You have not come with an alternative. We are giving you an alternative. We must take the land without payment. If you've got an alternative, we are prepared to listen.
The Youth League was no longer the obedient child of the ANC. It was a force shaking the very same foundation of the mother body. The Youth League across the country was rising up, demanding change, and Magaqa alongside Julius Malema became the symbol of this fearless new generation. A beacon of defiance and agency in a landscape of hesitation and compromise. But what inspired the youth deeply unsettled the powerful people. Behind closed doors, tension reached a boiling point. Jacob Zuma, who had once ridden the momentum into power, now he was the one crushing it. After the 2012 conference, the ANC politics shifted once again. The once vocal Youth League was systematically dismantled. Malema and his allies were expelled with a chilling warning that it's dark outside the ANC. Out of that purge, the Economic Freedom Fighters was born, founded by Julius Malema, Floyd Shivambu, and others. Many expected Magaqa, who was closely aligned with Malema, to follow, but in a surprising move, he chose to stay. Though he was suspended from the Youth League for a year, he returned to the ANC, refusing to abandon the struggle from within. But the ANC Youth League was silenced. its leadership decapitated, but Magaqa refused to fade into the background even as institutions turned their backs and political tides shifted. He remained committed to the call, defiant and still fighting. In 2017, Magaqa was serving as the local councillor in Umzimkhulu, determined to expose a web of corruption within the municipality, but someone wanted him silenced. Magaqa and a few of his comrades began raising alarms about suspicious spending on a construction of a memorial wall. Then municipal manager Zweliphansi Skhosana was set to deliver a financial report to council, but something didn't add up. The work on the ground didn't match the millions being reported each month, and the Auditor General's annual report confirmed their suspicion that there had been irregular expenditure. Magaqa, along with several concerned councillors, demanded a formal investigation, but resistance came swiftly from within. When the matter was escalated to the full council, it met a much greater opposition, but they still kept pushing forward. Now COSATU entered the frame, delivering a memorandum to the KZN Department of Cooperative Government and Traditional Affairs. Calling for a probe into the scandal, the matter ended up reaching the KZN Premier's office, which launched its own investigation, and a report was compiled and handed over to the former mayor Mkhuthulu Mbambanga. Mbambanga and Skhosana refused to act on the report's recommendations. Meanwhile, Magaqa was gaining momentum and was in the run to become ANC's National Deputy Secretary, a position that would have given them the authority to reopen and enforce the investigation. For some, that made him dangerous. In July of the same year, Magaqa and two of his comrades were ambushed in broad daylight and sprayed with bullets while sitting inside the car outside a local shop near his home. Yet, all three survived. Magaqa was rushed to the hospital where he began to recover, but just as hope returned, something went horribly wrong. He started complaining about severe stomach pain, then within a few days, he passed away. In 2018, the first arrest was made. 4 men were charged in connection with the ambush: a former policeman, a businessman, a municipal manager of Umzimkhulu, and the former mayor of the Rikwala district, Mluleki Ndobe. But inside the prison walls, the truth began to unravel. The hitman realized that he had been played. During a conversation with his co-accused, it was revealed that they were supposed to be paid 600,000 rands for the job, but he only got 20,000 rands. He then confronted the man who allegedly orchestrated the whole thing and decided to confess. The mayor reassured him that he would receive 500,000 rands, and the payoff came from the city manager Zweliphansi Skhosana and Mayor Ndobe themselves. Now, at this time, nobody else knew about what happened. But then, in a stunning twist, charges against the high-profile suspects, the mayor and the city manager, were quietly dropped, and just like that, the case lost its momentum. Then came a bombshell, a 13-page confession from the hitman himself, Sibusiso Ncengo. He detailed everything: how he and 5 others were paid 100,000 rands up front by the middleman, who dangled a promise of R1 million tender as part of the deal after they were done with the hit. Now they split the money in 6 ways, and some of it was paid to the former police officer. But the revelation did not end there. Ncengo alleged that the hit was not only known to the police, but it was facilitated by them. The getaway car and the rifle that was used in the attack was supplied by the police, and in the day of the ambush, a police escort cleared the path to ensure that the shooters moved undetected. And then came the deepest part. The hitman named a journalist as the man who helped channel the 500,000 rands to buy his silence and loyalty. Ncengo also accused the National Prosecution Authority of trying to suppress his testimony. For years, this story moved in silence. Whispers, files, and evidence was fading. But now, finally the truth is coming out. For those who knew Sindiso Magaqa, the hitman's confession didn't come as a surprise. It confirmed what they had long suspected. His close friend and a fellow activist Thabiso Zulu mentioned that the state had a hand in his murder.
They sent him back to the village. They knew he was not going to tolerate corruption. And when he started fighting corruption, those rank and files who are rooted in corruption then took his life. Magaqa told me when I met him in Mzimkhulu that there is a group of hitmen and criminals who take a blank tender document to a municipal manager and say to a municipal manager, you are going to fill this tender document for me. I do not have a tax clearance, and you are going to give me that tender of building the road. And it will happen. Because if the municipal manager wouldn't do that, then they are going to kill that municipal manager. Those are the things that Magaqa was fighting against in that rotten municipality, in that rotten province of the ANC. I told him many times to leave the ANC, to come and be the national organizer of the EFF, because I knew he loved the ground. I knew he loved working with ordinary people on the ground. And he had agreed with me, and he said, let me go and speak to my wife and my mother. This is done, I'm coming. I was still waiting for him, and this happened. I would have saved his life. I had a duty to save his life.
In November 2020, Mayam Lule Kindobe, the same man who was charged in connection to Magaqa's assassination, was found dead. He had taken his own life with a firearm. According to his family, no suicide note was left. At the time of his death, Magaqa remained close to the EFF leader Julius Malema. He had even urged Malema to return to the ANC, hoping to rebuild unity in the ruins of a fractured movement. But after Magaqa's death, Malema claimed that all his comrades had been planning to switch sides and join the EFF, an explosive move that, if it was true, it might have shifted the political balance back then. For years, whispers haunted the case that the state officials had orchestrated the hit, protecting the interest of powerful political gangsters within government ranks. The state accepted the hitman's confession, treating it as a formal plea of guilt. He was convicted on all charges, and the case remains open with recent trial dates. My name is Jay, and this is Moment in Future, pulling you into the truth.